Blog Talk Radio.
Yo, what's good? Big Coleon of the This Might Hurt podcast. Coming to you live from sunny, well, it's not sunny right now. It's actually pretty damn dark in South Carolina. So, in today's episode, well, not episode, in today's live show, I need to talk a little bit about living life stigma-free. Now, there's this big debate about living in a stigma-free society. And the problem is a lot of people are afraid of what they don't understand. And that's what's making stigma, that's what's making this an issue. Mental illness is not like any other. It's not like AIDS, or it's not like cancer. It's not like mental. I'm not saying that mental illness is worse than what they are, but mental illness is an issue. It plagues millions and millions of people. A lot of people nowadays are going around living their life in silence because they're afraid to express and to tell people how they feel and what they're going through, because they're afraid of the stigma. Now, I know many therapists, many psychiatrists. I've been and I've seen a bunch of been to a bunch of psychiatric facilities, and I know firsthand what it's like to live in a world where your mind isn't in your control. Your mind doesn't represent you at that moment in time. You know, the thing that people really don't really understand is that when you're in a mental state of mind where you can't really control your thoughts, you have anxiety, your heart's pounding, you're sweating, and you hear all these voices in your head telling you, hurt yourself, hurt this person, do this, do that. That's a daily struggle for some people. And these people live in silence because they're afraid to show, not to show, but to tell other people. Look, I know this kid, young kid, didn't have a father in his life, raised by his mother alone. And let me see, he came to me. He was like, listen, oh, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm going to give a shout out on SoundCloud, The Passion Hi-Fi. And also check out Ugly Monkey Productions. All right, back to I have to do that. I'm sorry. He came to me and he said, I'm having an issue. What's the issue? He's about 15, 16 years old. What's the issue? I'm not feeling right. I'm having these thoughts and my heart pounds and I sweat and I get the shakes. I want to cry. I want to scream. So the first thing I told him was, let's go see a therapist. Took him to the local mental health clinic. They evaluated him, and they found out that they diagnosed him with manic episode, manic depressive, some to that effect. But the kid now, is walking with his head up high, not afraid of what he carries in his mind. He knows that he has issues. Okay, he knows that at some point in time he'll be able to live a normal life. Now, what is normal though? What is normal to you? Some people live with mental illness and think it's normal. You know, they have unsuccessful relationships. They have I mean, I'm speaking. Look, all right, people. I'm speaking from experience. I'm gonna just put it out there. All right. I mean, let's talk. Let's bring up one mental illness that plagues everyone at one point or another in their lives. PTSD. PTSD, for those who don't know what it is post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, a lot of the soldiers that come back from their tours of duty overseas and have been in fights and battles and wars and stuff, they come back and most of them suffer from PTSD. They come home and they don't know how to adjust. They don't know how to live their day-to-day life. Why? Because this illness distracts the mind. It distorts their thinking. They're still at war with themselves. Even though they're home to their families, they're still at war with their mind. And I can't imagine living your life constantly living a war in your mind, reliving everything that you've seen, everything that you've been through while at war. I can't fathom what that must feel like or be like. I don't want to. That's why I give props to all the soldiers that go out there and protect this country and give us the freedom that we have. And the thing is that psychiatric medications, most people who are diagnosed take some form of medication. And if they take their medications, some of the symptoms excuse me, some of the symptoms they subside and some don't. But if you continue to really work at what it is, you continue to work at making yourself better through medication, you'll find yourself living a better life. Some people think that taking medications is a bad thing, but if you don't take them at one point or some point after you started taking them, you're only making things worse for yourself. Because starting a medication without stopping a medication without your doctor's approval or your doctor's guidance can really fuck yourself up. You can really screw yourself up. I know a kid, once again another kid, who was taking Lamictal, and he was on Lamictal for a couple weeks, and he felt good. Now, this is a common issue with people, and he felt good. He felt that I don't need this shit anymore. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling good. You know what I'm saying? I can go out there, chill, do whatever. Stop taking his medication. You know what happened to him? He ended up in a psychiatric facility because he couldn't deal with what was happening in his mind. He couldn't deal with the day-to-day struggle, and he didn't realize that he didn't know what the hell was going on. He neglected to tell his doctor he stopped the medication. And what was fucked up about it was he was on the verge of committing suicide. He was on the verge. It got to a point where he handcuffed himself to train tracks. He took a pair of handcuffs that belonged to his father, who was a police officer, and handcuffed himself to train tracks. Now, if not for the Conrail police, which is, cargo train police officers, they patrol all the train tracks where the cargo trains go. If they didn't see him and stop the train from coming, this kid would be dead. He'd be fucking dead right now. And there's so many stories that I have where I can tell you that I've helped kids. Because I'm big on helping guide children. I love kids. I love helping them. I love guiding them. I enjoy, because it brings me peace knowing that this kid didn't have much, didn't have a father figure, didn't have any kind of male role model in his life. He's suffering from some kind of mental illness. Now, see, the thing about kids that suffer with mental illness, some of them get left behind. They got a mother that works all day. They have a father who's a no-show. And they don't have that male role model to help them with their issues. Now, a woman raising kids by herself, might think that it's a cool thing. Oh, don't worry about it. I don't need a man in my life. I don't need his father. Fuck his father. His father can go to fucking hell. I don't need him. I can do this shit by myself. No. It doesn't work that way. Every single kid, whether it be a boy or a girl, male, female, gay, lesbian, whatever, every child deserves, every kid, every teenager, toddler, whatever, deserves to have that one male or female role model. Especially children and teens and young adults that suffer from mental illness, because they don't have the guidance, they don't have the ability to succeed without the help and guidance of an adult, a real adult, somebody who takes care of their responsibilities, somebody who they can look up to and say to them, this is my issue, can you help me? And that really sucks. I'll tell you another story. Years ago, I knew this kid. He was about 12 years old. He was a friend of mine. We used to play baseball, football, all kinds of sports together. And he had this thing with comic books. Collected all types of his favorite comic books were Iron Man, Spider-Man. I forgot what the other ones were, but he had this big thing for this kid had a comic book collection you would not believe. Baseball cards, football cards. He was an athlete. And one day, he started to cut school. Mind you, this kid's in the 5th grade. And I noticed that he wasn't coming to school. So I said to him, hey, you missed the test today. What, you were sick? What happened? Oh, nothing. I went to the comic shop and I cleaned up the comic shop, and Vinny, his name, the owner of the place's name is Vinny. He gave me some comic books. Oh, that's cool, man. That's all right. How often do you go over there? He goes, oh, I go once or twice a week, and I could clean up his shop, and he gives me comic books for free. I was like, oh, that's fucking cool, man. Oh, all right, whatever, but you have to get to school because you're missing out on a lot of work. So whatever. He, not whatever, but he continued to cut school and go up there to the comic shop, which was on Washington Street in Hoboken, across the street from Sacred Heart Academy. I'll never forget this. One day he goes up there, all right? owner of the shop, Vinny, says to him, listen, I got a messy basement. I got tons of comic books down there. Everything's dusty. It needs to be swept up. Can you go down there and do it? Okay. So the kid says, yeah, I'll do it. He goes, I'll let you pick from any back issue you want. Any back issue you want. Iron Man, Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, Flash, fucking Aquaman, Submariner, all of them. Ant-Man, every one of them. He said, we have all the back issues here. Now, if you go ahead and you clean up really well, I'll give you 5 back issues. Now, this is what this kid is telling me. 5 back issues you can have, plus whatever's new this week. So the kid's like, really? Can you really do this for me? He was like, yeah, just clean up the place, no big deal. So the kid goes downstairs, cleans up, and decides that he's gonna, like spit shine the place, make that shit really, really clean. So when Vinny came downstairs, he said to him, he was like, listen, you did a really good job, and you can have whatever back issues you want. No big deal. So as he's looking at the back issues, Vinny grabs him. He grabs him, throws him to the floor, pulls his pants down, and brutally rapes this kid. Brutally. He beat the shit out of this kid. He raped him. He did things to this kid you wouldn't believe. So finally, when Vinny was done with him, brushed his shoulders off, told the kid, now you can go. Now you can leave, like bye. Like whatever, like I don't give a fuck. Fuck you, you're just a piece of ass. And the kid went on his way. The kid was busted up in the face. He was bruised up. So he goes home. All right. It's about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And he goes home. And his mother's home waiting for him. He walks up in the house crying. Says to his mother, Mom, you're not going to believe. Oh my God. And she smacks the living shit out of him. She smacks him. And she says to him, you're getting left back because you've been cutting school. So he was like, oh my God, Mom, but you don't understand. Smacks him again. You've been cutting school. Now you're getting left back into the 5th grade all over again. But Mom, his stepfather comes into the house. They called him from the school also. The father comes in, stepfather comes in, grabs the kid, beats the shit out of him, and says, why the fuck haven't you been going to school? He was like, no, but wait, you don't understand. They beat the shit out of him, right? So not only did this kid just suffer a traumatic incident, this kid gets beat up by his parents, and he tries to explain to them that he tried to explain what happened to him. This is what happened to me, and I really think he said, wait, I'm trying to think of what he said. He tried explaining to them that what happened to him, and they beat the shit out of him even more because they thought that he was making the story up to protect his ass from cutting school, and he knew he was going to get in trouble. No one believed this kid. No one. So not only did this kid get raped, he pretty much got raped by his mother and father. He went through years. Now this is what's crazy, that the kid His life changed. We never saw him much more after that. He wouldn't come to football games, wouldn't practice, stopped playing baseball, stopped collecting comic books. And the sad part, no, I didn't say that. I forgot this. The saddest part of all is this. He has a cousin who's a police officer in Hoboken. And they call him up and they say, "Look, he said this. He said the guy did this and he's all bruised up. We think he got into a fight with some kids that he's having problems with, but he said this is what happened." Cousin says, "Okay, so what do you want to do?" They said, "No, he's cutting school, going up to this place. He's gonna get left back, and he's just afraid that he's gonna get in even more trouble. So he made this story up. He's in the background talking about, no, you don't understand. You know, he did this." So his cousin says, "All right, well, there's really nothing I can do, but I'll go check it out. You know, I can't go and arrest the guy." Are you fucking kidding me? You can't go arrest a guy? So he stops doing everything he used to do. The kid was a shell of himself. He was like, he was a good kid, real good kid. And he suffered a lot, a whole lot. He went through years and years of therapy. He went through years and years of being put in mental institutions. Now, this is what he's telling me as an adult. You know, we're still friends, and he's telling me this as an adult. He's like, this is what happened to me. So he pretty much lived his life with this form of PTSD, you know, and he really, really, really suffered a lot. I feel bad for this guy. Grown man, family man, kids, works, you know, has his house, has everything. But he lives with this inside of him every single day. He suffers every single day. He relives this every single day. He's been through tons of therapists. I mean, at least throughout his lifetime, up until this point, at least 9 or 10 therapists, maybe 12. There was one that even he went to a program, and it was an outpatient program. Now they set you up with a therapist and stuff before they let you out of this program. They let him out. He goes to see this therapist at this place called Serve in Clifton, New Jersey. Anybody goes there, you need to check them because this is what they did to him. He goes to see the therapist, sees her twice. When he goes to see her a second time, she wouldn't see him. She calls up the outpatient program he was in and says, "You let him out too soon. He's not ready. I think he's dangerous." So she refused to see him because she was afraid of him. Why? Because of how he felt inside. She couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle the fact that this kid had so many issues that it was way beyond her skill. Like she really couldn't fathom what this kid's been through. She must have been like a new therapist or some shit. She must have been somebody who just thought like an intern or some shit. Because once he laid it down on her, that was it. She was like, "Nope, I'm not gonna deal with this kid. This shit's too fucking much." So they send him back to the program, and he's still suffering. He's not afraid to talk about what happened to him, but he never went into detail until he told me exactly what happened to him. He suffered a brutal rape, man. At 12 years old. Do you know you took away that kid's life? You took away everything from that kid. The kid, like I said, was a shell of himself. Every single day living that over and over in your mind. That's PTSD. The kid suffers from bipolar disorder, PTSD. He's depressed, anxiety, borderline personality disorder. Kid has almost everything. Well, he's a man now, but I mean, he has a lot of what a person with mental illness goes through. He got symptoms of everything, and I feel bad for him because he's a real good person. And he's just misunderstood. He walks around every single day with all these issues inside of him. They say that the people with the most beautiful minds suffer the most. And I think that's true because this kid, this guy, this man, he's smart, very crafty, very artistic. He does a lot. He proves himself all the time, but he just can't get over this hump. And why does he suffer in silence? Because he has something inside of him that people are afraid of. They're afraid because they don't understand it. His relationships, I'm using him, and I got his permission to do this. I'm using him as an example, of what mental illness really is and how you can go about, getting better, how you can go about looking for the help you need. But this guy, man, he's been in a bunch of relationships throughout his life. Not many, but some. And it's crazy because before he was medicated, this kid was an animal. He sold drugs. He carried guns. He didn't care about his life anymore. He suffered a whole lot. He was shot at. He's been shot at. He's shot at people. He's done a lot. He's sold drugs to his friends' parents. He sold drugs to his teachers from school. You believe that shit? He'd had one of his teachers had his beeper number. This is when beepers are out. He would beep him to meet him, and he would sell him shit. Like, are you kidding me? Yeah, yo, bring me an 8-ball. He'll bring him an 8-ball. I want a clip. Bring him a clip. Let me get 2 or 3 of those. And that's it. You have them things? Yeah, I got them. So I don't understand. Well, I do understand that he suffered a lot. And his relationship suffered a lot too. He really, really, really didn't have a successful relationship up until this point. Every single woman in his life found a way to leave him, found a way to escape the daily struggles of dealing with this kid, this man, because he was so erratic. Now, bipolar disorder type 2, I think it is. He was real risky. He did risky shit. He was always pushing the limits. Very, very, very reckless. He was really reckless. He did things that a person shouldn't do. And he did them because he didn't know better. He wasn't medicated. Now, people are afraid of medication because they think it's going to slow them down. They think that medication is just another way to control them. But he took the medication, and he used to take it, stop it, take it, stop it, take it, stop it. And it fucked him up even more. And as he got older, he started to realize that his life was worth something and he needed to fix it. So when he was about 17, he decided he was going to give up the drug game. He was going to give up the guns, give up the drugs, And this kid never did a drug in his life. He drank a lot. Don't get me wrong. The kid drank a lot. But he never did any drug. Maybe he smoked once or twice, 3 times, maybe 4. But that's about it. Never smoked a cigarette. Maybe smoked some weed once, 2 or 3 times, whatever. But he was a heavy drinker. The reason why I think drinking alcohol, I think, is a genetic thing. It's my opinion. Now, everything I talk about in this episode is my opinion when it comes to certain things. But when I'm telling you a story, it's real, it's official. So deal with it. So if you have any kind of issue with what I'm saying, don't fucking listen. You know what I'm saying? I'm being real. These are my opinions, and if you can't deal with my opinions, just keep it moving. I can't help you. I can help you, but I can't help you if you don't listen to what I have to say. Like I said, they're my opinions. If you don't like it, keep it moving. You got to understand that if you don't like my opinions and you're going to cry about it, keep it moving, But what I need you to understand is that this man, was really reckless with his life. Almost died a few times being reckless. The guy has kids now, and he's living a decent life, Has a loving wife, great kids, smart ass kids, but they're good kids, and he's pretty much, living the best life he could live right now. The kid's on this guy's on 1, 2, he's on 5 medications, man. And those medications keep him straight. He's a completely different person without those medications. Completely different. You can look at him and know that he hasn't been taking his medication. Now, the one medication he takes, Abilify, he takes in injection form. And he has to get that every month. And that's one medication he can't get rid of and not take because, it's in a form of injection. It's an injection. Jesus Christ, people. You got me stuttering here. And he takes Vyvanse, the Abilify, Wellbutrin, Lamictal. Those. Yeah, right? Those are the ones you take. Yeah, those are the ones he takes. So, his relationships too suffered a lot. He had a couple girlfriends that their relationships lasted a few years at a time. And there was a couple of relationships. Well, the one relationship he had with this girl in North Bergen High School when he was in North Bergen High. He was in a lot of trouble in Hoboken High. They transferred him to Weehawken High for a week. He had to leave there. Then he went into North Bergen High School, still with his grandmother. And got his sister stood up there. So he was going to school in North Bergen, the Bruin for a little while. But once a Red Wing, always a Red Wing, right? So he's dating this girl. They're together for a year and some change, whatever. And he wasn't medicated. He wasn't medicated. He was on steroids. He was on steroids. That fucking steroids, man. You give steroids to an unstable person, who has a mental illness or several mental illnesses. That's a mixture for disaster. He became violent. He became this animal that no one wanted to deal with. He became this beast that was untamed, and he's like, you put me in a corner, I'm fucking you up. You put me in a corner, I'll kill you. That's how bad it got with him. So he's taking the steroids, playing football, and one day he decides, I'm gonna go to home, I'm gonna stay in Hoboken, chill with my mom, whatever. So he calls his girlfriend up and says, "Yo, let's go hang out. I want to see you." And she was like, "Not today. I'm going to Sesame Place with the lady down the street, and I'm not gonna be around." She lived in Old Bergen on 74th Street, 74th, yeah, 74th Street, off of Bergen Line Avenue. Right, that's where she lived. And he called her up once again and said, "Listen, don't go. Just let's hang out. Let's get together. We'll chill at the crib. You know what I'm saying? You know how it is." She was like, "No, not today." He was like, "All right. Where you going?" "Sesame Place with the lady down the street." Okay. So he's sitting home, pacing back and forth, right? Pacing back and forth. Now, this is when the illnesses start to take over. He becomes bipolar. He gets anxiety. He gets depressed. He gets manic. His mood isn't stabilized. It's jumping from here to there. He's not comfortable with himself. His mood is fluctuating. The kid starts to think. He's thinking. He says to himself, "You know what? Sesame Place is almost 2 hours from North Bergen. How the fuck is she gonna? It's 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The fuck is she getting to Sesame Place? Let me see. It's 1 o'clock, right? 1 o'clock. 2 hours. 3, 4 o'clock. By the time she gets there, comes home 2 hours. She's full of shit." So he hops in a cab, General Taxi, Union City, New Jersey. They go to Hoboken, Guttenberg, West New York, all that shit. Yeah. So that was a taxi back in the day. $5 to go wherever you wanted to go. So anyway, he goes up there to her house, right? And he knocks on the window. What he normally did when, he needed to go see her, and you could see that she was in the house. She opened up the blinds, like to put her finger between the blinds, and saw that it was him and closed them. He was like, "Listen, I know you're in the house. Just let me in so we could chill, whatever." She refused to let him in. So he knew something was up. He goes around the building to the side of the house, and he goes to look inside. He usually climbs. that was the window he used to climb in to visit her late at night. So he tries to climb into the window, but the window's locked. He's like, "What the fuck?" So he's wondering. He's pacing. He's like, "What the fuck? Why would you open the door?" He starts to walk to the back door of the building, to the house. And he notices that there was like 4 or 5 cats back there. Back in the day, they were like loose animals and shit. Stray dogs, stray cats. And he notices they're looking at the back door. He goes back there, and she's letting out some guy from the back door. Some kid letting him out from the back fucking door. The fucking kid snaps. He snaps. He runs up the back steps, beats the living shit out of this kid. Okay? Beats the living shit out of him. The kid pops up, starts running. He's chasing the kid down the driveway, onto the sidewalk, up to the Bergen Line Avenue. Throwing shit, beating the shit out of this kid as he's running. He goes back to the crib because the kid is gone already. He handled his business with that kid. Goes back to the crib. She locks the doors. This motherfucker breaks through those doors. This is how much strength he had because of the steroids and all the shit going on in his head. He broke the door down. He grabbed this chick, and he lit her up. He lit her up, man. He lit her up. And a lot of people are going to say, you shouldn't hit women. And I don't condone that shit at all. I'll be straight up. I don't condone hitting any female. But he lumped her up. He was out of control, man. Out of control. He had no control over what he was doing. Because the mental illness, his mental state was completely fucked and screwed him up. You know, and on top of that, the steroids. So, you know, that was a mixture for disaster from the beginning. So he leaves and, you know, just goes home. You know, they almost pressed charges on him. But her mother spoke to him and said, look, you fucked my daughter up. She's bruised up. Stay away from my daughter and everything will be fine. Just leave her alone. That's what happened. He left her alone. So he didn't see her again after that day. But after that, he got into a lot of shit. He got with this other chick. She was cheating on him. He beat up the guy she was cheating on him with. You know, it was a disaster with this kid. You know, people don't get why medication to people with mental illness. It really is. It's a person with mental illness and no medication. That's a mixture for a disaster. You know. So with that being said, I'm gonna take a break, come back, finish my story, and you gonna finish? Yeah, we're gonna finish the story and talk more about this stuff. And one more topic I have to talk about. I'm gonna go back to the kids and male role models and stuff. So finish his story and talk about that. And we'll be done. So for now, we're gonna take a break and we'll be back right after this. What's up? I'm back. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, people. And we're going to continue the story and talk about a couple other things. But like I said, today we're talking about living with stigma and if you're living free or not. Okay. Now back to what I was saying. All right. So pretty much, I want to just finish off this kid's story. So pretty much, kid is living a good life now. You know, he has his kids, has his woman. You know, he's just living his life, man, the best he can live it. You know, he's not really, he takes his medication, so he's not really, going through too much right now. But from what he tells me, he's doing all right. You know, despite all the, the medications and everything that he's been through, he's been able to succeed in a lot of things. And, he suffers from, it's the thing about bipolar disorder. It's like you have extreme mood swings, from depression to mania. It used to be called, back in the day, it used to be called manic depressive disorder. Bipolar disorder is very serious and can cause risky behavior, and that's what he went through, even suicidal tendencies. It can be treated with therapy and medication, to be honest with you. So it's definitely something that can be not cured, but it can be managed. If you can manage it, then you could live a productive life. Oh, man, like I said, bipolar disorder, sometimes it's considered being manic depression. Manic depression is usually what used to call it. It's like I said, dramatic mood changes from being high, like you're the king of the world, then dropping down like you're crying, and the changes in a person's mood and energies, especially from like elated heights of mania, which is living on top of the world like you're the king and you're doing crazy shit, to the lows of depression. Bipolar disorder affects all ages, genders, ethnicities, and it's usually has onset late in adolescence to young adults. That's what people don't understand. They think kids suffer from it more than adults do, because they think adults have more responsibilities and they're more mentally stable to handle these kinds of things. But that's not true. And it's also genetic. Genetics can play a role in the vulnerabilities, of bipolar disorder. Some people, like some researchers and shit, they've traced the incidence of bipolar disorder among generations of families, because his father and mother suffered from mental illness. His father and grandfather suffered from mental illness and alcoholism. So he was pretty much fucked from the beginning. My bad, but I'm just saying. So, bipolar disorder can be even, but it's important to be aware of the early warning signs of an impending episode of bipolar depression, or, all right, in some cases, bipolar mania. And the thing is, with early recognition of the warning signs, a doctor can really allow you to monitor they want you to monitor your mood, and they want to monitor medications to keep the illness from escalating. You don't want that, because if it gets escalated, you're in trouble. Although treating bipolar disorder is like it's critical. The moods are critical. It's crazy because also there's a convincing. My speech is like my mouth is dry and shit. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Just give me a second right here. A lot of people, you know, a lot of people don't understand bipolar disorder. And the thing is, all right, if you have a friend or somebody who's suffering from, these kinds of symptoms, you should really tell them to consult a doctor or a therapist. Because some of the warning signs are depressed mood, low self-esteem, excessive spells of crying spells. Like they're just sitting there crying all the time, talking about, oh my God, I'm suffering. Low energy levels, sadness, loneliness, helplessness, feelings of guilt. Those are the kinds of things they suffer from. Slow speech and fatigue, and poor coordination and concentration. I think those are a majority of what's going on, with bipolar disorder. Sometimes people can get insomnia or over. They could definitely suffer from insomnia, be up all fucking night, just not know what the fuck to do with themselves, and they can oversleep. But I think it's more oversleeping than insomnia sometimes, because when you're oversleeping, it's because the mind is running. The mind doesn't stop for anything. You have so many thoughts running around in your head, going from one thing to another, jumping ahead, jumping back, jumping to the side. There's so many thoughts that runs through a person's mind with bipolar disorder. You can't. Oh man, what's the word I'm looking for? You can't sit there and try to understand the bipolar mind. You have to be in that person's shoes. You have to live it. You have to feel it. You can't. No one can go in there and look at it. I mean, I wish we could look at a bipolar mind, but you can't look at it and say to yourself, "Wow, this motherfucker's fucked up." It doesn't work that way. And you know what? Also, there's changes in appetite. Sometimes you overeat, sometimes you don't eat, and you have unexplainable body aches and pains. Oh shit! You got this shit. He's always complaining about a fucking pain somewhere. Lack of interest or pleasure. In usual activities. So, and the thing about that, now that was depression, the bipolar depressive side. Now, if you want to know the symptoms for bipolar mania, that's a different story. But see, this is all right. So the first symptom, I think, is euphoria. When someone that has mania is going through a mania episode, it's like euphoria. You get euphoria. And irritability, that's another big one. Excessive talking, like I said before, racing thoughts, inflated self-esteem, unusual energy, less need of sleep. It all depends. Impulsiveness, recklessness, that's what he was going through. Impulsiveness, recklessness, the pursuit of gratification, shopping sprees, impulsive, and just being impulsive, it's too much, and traveling, the need to travel, and more sometimes promiscuous sex, just having crazy sex all over the place, high risk business and investments, things like that, fast driving. If you're a speedster and you drive fast and you're out of control, And sometimes hallucinations or delusions, you know, psychotic, features such as how do you say, they're involved about one or of every two cases of bipolar mania, you know. So, I mean, sometimes, sometimes if this is how it is, man. Not for you think about it. There are tons and tons of celebrities also from bipolar disorder. I compiled a list here of, I looked this up, of celebrities with bipolar disorder. Okay, so let's see. Let's go through this list. For one, Mariah Carey. She was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2001. You know, she lived in denial and isolation for years. You know, she said she finally sought treatment after a series of professional and romantic issues. And she quote, and I quote, "I put positive people around me, and I got back to doing what I love, writing songs and making music." You know, and a lot of people who are bipolar, man, they're definitely, you know, artistic. They love the arts, you know. And another one is Carrie Fisher. Rest in peace, Princess Leia. You know, um, she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder when she was 24. Um, she wrote her 97 novel, Postcards. Um, After, oh shit, she had a near fatal overdose on stage. Fisher called intention and research of the condition. She died of a heart attack, and then, of course, in 2016. But she also suffered from bipolar disorder. And look, if you don't know this one, you're out of your fucking mind. Mel motherfucking Gibson. Mel Gibson said that he had, he had bipolar disorder. Um, he he suffered a lot. You know, he went through a lot. He looked Passion of the Christ. You know, he produced that film. You know, he earned 2 Academy Award nominations. He was considered to be the sexiest man alive in 1985. Um, he is like the epitome of mental illness because he's crazy. Mel Gibson shot out, and we all know she's been an advocate for mental illness. Demi Lovato, you know, she admitted herself into a clinic after addiction to self-harm in 2010. You know, after she learned she got bipolar disorder, they even aired a documentary about the struggle she had in 2012. So that's another one. Russell Brand, some or Katy Perry's old man. You know, he suffered from bipolar disorder. Um, who else? Kurt Cobain, um, the founder of Nirvana. For those who live under rocks and don't know, um, he struggled with bipolar disorder and depression, and he committed suicide. He was only 27 years old. 27. And he shot himself in 19, was it 94? I think it was 94, you know. But Jimi Hendrix, he suffered from manic depression. You know, he's a legendary guitar legend. He's a rock legend. You know, he was expelled from high school, stole cars. You know, he, I don't know, he suffered from it. Manic depression. It's no joke. Despite his mental issues, Hendrix's performances at Woodstock were talked about for decades. He died at 27 in 1970. It's another one. You know, Ernest Hemingway, Ted Turner, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Just name a few. Frank Sinatra, you know. Frank Sinatra suffered bipolar disorder, you know. Sinead O'Connor, well, we all know what's up with that one, you know. Jean-Claude Van Damme, he kicked the shit out of the depression. But the depression kicked the shit out of him, and now, he suffered with mood swings in childhood. You know, he had that breakthrough film, Bloodsport. After that, he found out he was bipolar. He had bipolar disorder in 2011. You know, Patty Duke, Winston Churchill. You know, those are some celebrities that have disorder. It's crazy, and let's see, let's research something here, people. Let's see something real quick. It's really quick. I have just curious. All right, now, really quick, we're gonna talk about. I'm just gonna give you a rundown on the list of celebrities that have actually. This is sad, man. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with this, but you need to know how serious this is. And it's terrible. Stars that have killed themselves, depression. First and foremost, look at that. Kurt Cobain, 27 years old. Jonathan Brandis. He did that too. 27 years old. Oh, shit. He was 19 years old. Wow. Damn, a lot of this sad shit. I'm going through the list here, and some of these celebrities are, wow. Dana Plato. She was on different strokes. She was 33 years old. Chris Benoit, the wrestler, he was 40. Sad shit with him is he killed his family before he killed himself. That's terrible. Junior Seau, 43 years old. He suffered from he suffered from depression, and he killed himself. He was a very successful athlete in the NFL. So there are tons and tons and tons of actors and actresses that have killed themselves because of depression. Lee Thomas Young was 29 years old. I mean, damn. Some of these people I didn't even know. I don't, and I can't say that I don't understand, because I do. I understand what it is these people are going through. It's terrible. Some sad shit, man. But the one that really got me, the one that really actually hurt my feelings. Well, before I talk about that one, let's talk about Marilyn Monroe. She suffered. I mean, she killed herself. Well, she overdosed. She was suffering a lot. With a lot of issues from depression, bipolar disorder, stuff like that. And she couldn't take it anymore, so she OD'd. She just took her own life. But like I was saying, the one that really got me, that really shook up my world and the world of other people that suffer from, some sort of a mental illness, is Robin Williams. 63 years old, man. 63. I mean, he's a great comedian, great actor, and he was the one that was really suffering in silence. That's why I tell people, do not let this eat you up inside. Open your fucking mouth, tell somebody, and get the help you need. You know, you really don't have to suffer by yourself. You really don't. You know, so it's easier said than done. Easier said than done. You know, and the whole thing with this stigma, like I said, is people are afraid of what they don't understand. So they label you. They label you a path. They label you as some kind of freak or some kind of monster or some kind of, you know, some kind of beast that they're afraid of because they don't want to learn about what's wrong with you. Not that there's anything wrong with you, but they don't want to understand, you know, what you're going through. They don't want to deal with it. It's terrible. You know, and the thing that bothers me most is the fact that it affects relationships. Do you know what it's like to sit in a room and think about the kinds of things happening to your loved ones? I knew a kid who used to tell me that he would sit in his room and just think of horrible things that would happen to his relatives, his friends, you know, and to his family, whoever. He would sit there and he couldn't control it. These are just visions that he had in his mind of things happening to people he loved. Even with some medications he was on, just sit. You know what that's like. You don't to sit there and think, and not even matter of fact, you know what? Not even thinking yourself, just your mind fucking with you, giving you visions of things that you don't want to see. You don't want to see these things, but your mind is fucking you. It's fucking with you. And if you can't control that, your relationships are going to suffer. You know, just think about this. Just think about you're sitting there minding your own business, playing Call of Duty, Injustice, Uno, Dominoes, whatever it is you're doing, eating a pizza, and all of a sudden, bam, the thought of your loved one dying, the thought of your loved one having sex with another man or another woman, you know, just imagine that just popping into your mind out of nowhere. You're minding your own business, you know, you're talking, you're chilling, and all of a sudden, boom, oh my God, why the fuck am I thinking this? Wait a minute, hold on, yo, what the fuck? No, I don't want to think, I don't want to see this. Cancel. It doesn't cancel out. What the fuck is going on? The person dies in your dream, in your thought, or the person is continuing to have sex with somebody in your mind. These are the things people see. These are the things people go through on a day-to-day life, day-to-day, what they go through day in and day out. Their relationships suffer, man. Priorities just get them. It's not their fault. It's not. Do you think they want to sit there and think these things? You think they want to sit there and feel these things? No, they don't. It's just a form of mental illness, a form of a disorder that controls the mind when you're trying to control it yourself. And a lot of people say that, stand up, keep pushing forward. Nothing is going to hit harder than life, which is true. Nothing will hit harder than life. But mental illness will fuck your life up. Life will just hit you, but mental illness will fuck you up beyond what life can do. You know why? Because with mental illness, you just might take your fucking life. So fuck that. If you can't completely express how you feel with your own mental illness. You're never going to succeed, man. You're just going to suffer more and more. You have to open your mouth. You know? You feel something, say something. You know, you gotta express yourself. You can't keep suffering in silence. I'm telling everyone out there who's listening right now, if you feel you have some sort of mental illness, mental disorder, whatever it is you want to call it, I got something for you. You know, if you feel like you're going to hurt yourself, don't do it. But I want you to call the National Suicide Hotline, Lifeline, Prevention Lifeline. The number is 1-800-273-8255. You know, where you can chat with a professional, somebody who can help you, help guide you. You know, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know, they have crisis services that can help you. You know, it's important that you find the help you need. You know, call this number. You know, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. Once again, it's 1-800-273-8255. And another program, not a program, but another organization called NAMI. A lot of people don't know what that is. It's NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And they're a great organization. You know, if you need some help also, you can give them a call at 1-800-950-NAMI, which is 1-800-950-6264. You know, they can help you with diagnosing, you know, certain conditions of mental health. You know, your treatment options. You know, they can help you get local support and services. Also, they can help you with education programs, help family members get treatment to help you. You know, they can help you find jobs. It's a great organization. You know, utilize them. Go give them a call, and they'll help you. You don't have to suffer in silence anymore, people. Bring all that shit to the forefront. Start expressing yourself. Start being you. Don't hide anymore. Show the world who you are. If you have mental illness, stand up. Raise your hand. Let the world know. But let the world know you're going to handle it. Let the world know you're going to live with it. You're going to embrace it. And you're going to get help for it. So that's all I got to say about that, you know. Oh, man. This was a pretty cool show. I don't always do, you know, shows like this, live shows like this. It's something that's been bothering me. You know, like my friend here, we were talking about it a couple of days ago, that when he was telling me about what he's been through. And I just think that, you know, these things need to be heard. People need to understand. People need not to be afraid of this. Not to be afraid because they think they're going to be labeled. This is what I mean when, you know, trying to live stigma free. Do we really live stigma free? Or don't we? Or do we? No, we don't really live stigma free. This world is blinded by the bullshit. They're blinded by the idea of this world being not perfect, but being close to it, with its citizens living normal lives, going to work, coming home, spending time with the kids, chilling, eating dinner, going to movies, just doing family shit. But then there's another world, a completely different world, a world of suffering, a world of pain. And that person walking down the street right now that you're walking next to could be suffering You know, whoever's sitting next to you while you're listening to this podcast can have some kind of mental disease, a mental disorder. Sorry, mental disorder. But it's up to us to understand. It's up to us to help guide, to help bring it out. You know, it's up to us as society to let people know that it's okay. That it's okay to have a mental illness. That it's okay to suffer. It's okay to be stressed out. It's okay to have anxiety. It's okay to see a psychiatrist. It's okay to talk to a therapist. It's okay to have PTSD. Nobody's going to be afraid anymore. We're here to help. We're here to help you live stigma free. My name is Big Coleon, and this is the This My Heard podcast. Hope you like the show, and guess what? I'm out.